I often say to people, if you think you have a problem with something like you just proposed, notice what happens when you no longer engage, whether it's drinking, smoking pot, gambling, spending, working. It isn't the fact that I can stop anytime I want. See, look, I did it. It's not that. It's not for that purpose. The purpose is to notice what happens for you when you're not engaging in those behaviors. So when you no longer are shopping, what comes up for you? Do you notice frustration? Do you notice angst, anxiety, fear, a preoccupation of, I don't know what to do with myself, or yeah, but, or the what ifs? Does it feel like a loss of some sort? And these are the noticings that are so helpful for that introspective search.
Yes. In IFS, we call those trailheads.
Say, what is a trailhead?
A trailhead is the beginning of a trail, right? We have them all over in the
Ah,
Black Hills.
interesting.
It's like the headwaters of a creek, which turns into a river, etc.
Right. So I know what a trailhead is in hiking, but that's an interesting concept paired with IFS, internal family systems, parts work that the book is rooted in. So
Yeah,
it's the beginning of a journey,
it's
an
the beginning of
introspective
a
journey.
journey. Like, oh, there's a trailhead. That means the
Ah,
path leads
somewhere.
somewhere.
Oh, interesting.
What am I going to discover going down this path?
Huh.
Have no idea.
Right. And some people say, and I don't want to know.
Oh, yes. Most of us don't want to know.
Right.
And
Nothing to see here, folks. Let's just move along.
yeah, so how do you, when you uncover that, okay, I've stopped shopping. Um, I am noticing, which is a huge step forward to be aware of everything you listed.
Mhm.
Let's say that I'm aware, oh my God, I get so feel this, I feel that, I feel that. Then what is the next step? Because a lot of people will go back to shopping.
Yeah. They'll say, well, okay, great. I noticed this. Now what?
Yeah, out
And
to the
back,
store.
yeah, back to the store. Okay, I noticed, spent the day noticing, and now back to where I was. Let's pick
Yeah.
up where we left off. And I think that if the individual is looking to change a behavior or is aware that there is a problem with their behavior, making the unconscious conscious, or creating an awareness around what it is I want to change, is the first step again, because if we don't know what it is we're changing, then we can't really affect any behavioral modification. So the next step is, okay, I noticed that when I'm not shopping, I'm home and I'm anxious. I want to do something to get out of this discomfort.
Mm-hmm.
And if shopping seems to be the fused behavior or the coupled behavior to whatever it is, that might just be the symptom. The shopping is the symptom of the underlying problem, not the problem. Although it may have become the problem, it is not the underlying problem.
And isn't that true in every one of these behaviors?
Yeah, very, very common.
Symptoms of something deeper.
Mhm. Yeah.
When I first started doing this work with Ted Klontz, he would say, well, the interesting thing about this uh, financial therapy stuff, money and emotions, is that every problematic behavior leads to the same room.
The one in which I'm sitting.
it's it's like it's all going to the same source. And I think that is really important to understand that this could be drinking, it could be all sorts of different things.
Mhm.
And sometimes the symptom is money and specific things and behaviors and money.
And I want to bring in IFS. We just touched on it. You said a trailhead before. There may be a part of me that is well aware that I don't like to shop. And then there's a part of me that says, well, okay, I got to buy some clothes, whether I do it online or I go to a store, I need to buy clothes. And so I'm just going to bite the bullet and I'm just going to try clothes on and order them. I mean, it just happened the other day. I had to order some shoes, and of course, they didn't fit. So I had to send them back. And then they came in the new size, I had to try them on. That's just laborious to me. But there's a part of me that knows, look, I got to get through it because I can't walk around barefoot in the world and I need shoes for a certain event. So we have parts of ourself that are well aware and parts of us that we talk about as the exile and the protector part that wants to keep that pain out of view and from getting hurt.
Yep.
But I guess let me ask you, I'll pose the same question back through the lens of IFS or parts. What happens now that we discover, oh, so shopping is a symptom attached, showing the trailhead to something deeper?
Yeah. So the symptom, the shopping, is an activity of a protector. To your point, the protector is, let's divert, let's do whatever we can to keep this exiled, isolated, put away. So when we get to a place where that protector can kind of step back a little bit, so we can then become aware of that exile. Okay, so we're not shopping. The protector's protecting has been pulled back. And now here comes the wounded part. Here come all the emotions to this wounding. Well, in IFS speak, it's now time to work with that vulnerable part, which can be very challenging. And what often happens is the protector says, see, this is what we're trying to, I told you it was going to be bad. Boom. We're going to
This
go
is
shop.
what I was trying to tell you. Now you went and ruined it because now you got to deal with it.
That's right. And actually, the shopping part can be a manager. There's two types of protectors, or a firefighter. Now, firefighter just says, we're putting this fire out.
Right. Shutting it down.
This has gotten out of control. Probably shopping addiction is possibly more of a manager, but I'm not sure. They can be either. Anyway, I'm getting into the weeds. The point is to get some permanent healing resolution with this wounded part. That protector needs to be in complete agreement with you getting in contact with that exile and witnessing its story and its pain. Because if the protector isn't on board, it's going to shut it down. Mm-hmm. And in IFS, this is going to an exile without permission.
So we're fighting ourselves. We have defenses that show up. In other words, if the protector's not on board.
And this is why we can do anything for 30 days, right? Yeah. We can tie that protector up and in a way exile that protector. And it's going nuts. But oftentimes in IFS, oftentimes we do start with the protector and learn about it, learn about its job, when it is start doing its job, what it does it fear if it doesn't do its job. Is it tired of its job? And most protectors are going to say, yeah, well, yeah, if this tremendous fear, this super emptiness or isolation or whatever it is, if that wasn't there, and which is really hard for the protector to even imagine. But just imagine that it's not there, that this exile isn't having the pain. Would that change anything for you? And the protector almost always says, oh, yeah. Yeah, if that wasn't there, yeah, we wouldn't have to shop. I mean, we could shop when we needed to shop. And the protector, you can ask, well, is that the role you'd like? What role would you like if that part is healed? Well, yeah, I'd like to be in charge of shopping, but without the urgency, because this is getting tiring.
Yeah, so I'm thinking of my own personal experience shopping clothes wise, but I want to broaden this because there are people who buy cars to restore, or they buy furniture to restore, or they just collect, or they like to collect different objects, right? For art, so forth,
Hmm.
regardless of the price point, regardless of the cost of the object. It's
Hmm.
the act of buying and shopping, not necessarily the price point at which one does it, and the negative consequences of this behavior that are either now compulsively based or addictive. And that's the important piece to keep in mind here, because the protector can be operating on any level for any person and any situation that this applies.
Yep. And there's usually more than one.
That gets complicated.
Oh yeah. When you're working with IFS and you've identified an exile, there can be a number of protectors. One protector will step back. Okay, you can go talk to it, and another one comes in.
So this sounds so convoluted for a couple that are arguing because they are parts within themselves, multiple arguments, right? They're at odds with within themselves. And then spouse number one and spouse number two has their own internal system. And my God, mayhem ensues.
Yeah, buddy.
We got to make sure they get aligned, and we got to find a partner or a coupleship that, do you like to shop? Do you like to buy? Do you like to save? Do you like to spend? And that's where these arguments come from.
Yes, and you identify something I think we say in the book somewhere, that things can seem pretty good if your partner and you have the same protectors. If you both love to shop,
And it's not a
um,
problem.
yeah, then there's not the friction. Usually, I think we frame this in the book as spending and saving.
Yes, because that's the most
If
common
you
one
have
we
two
hear.
spenders, life is great. Let's go spend. But we suggest that the end is probably even more painful because both of us are aligned on that. Or if we're both savers, great. I mean, I can think of clients, I see more of those that are both were savers. And it becomes very harmful.
In what way?
Things around their house are not fixed. They're driving cars that aren't safe. There's exposed wires. They are not even spending to support making life safe.
So there's a scrupulosity or rigidity that sets in on either end of the spectrums.
Totally. And so let's take, you got a spouse, one that's a saver and one that's a spender. Well, theoretically, that's like having one of your feet in a bucket of ice and one of your feet on hot embers. And on the average, you're fine. So as a couple, you've got a governor, you've got a resistance to each. Now, that doesn't make things fun today. But ultimately, I think, and this is all, I don't know any research on this, this is all theory, that the problem comes forward a little quicker.
It rises to a friction point that's more noticeable, in other words.
Yeah, because there's no friction point
Yeah,
with the
otherwise.
others until the wheels are coming off the financial bus.
And then I would imagine at that point, because it's extreme on either saving or spending, that it's pretty significant. That's
Yeah,
pretty problematic
I
when
think
it
there's more of a hope. And maybe I'm kind of hoping anybody listening to this that identifies themselves here with this can garner some hope that if you're in a partnership with somebody who's exactly opposite financially from you, that this can be a good thing. This can be more hopeful. This can lead to resolving the issue before it becomes financially irreparable.